Live from the City of Angels on this Sunday night. It is St. Patrick's Day. We have adorned the surroundings in green. Tonight, one of my favorite kits. We'll talk about that coming up. Here's what's on the show tonight. Our big topic we'll get to in a moment. I want to ask the question, though, will Dune 2 get to $1 billion or not? It's at $500 million right now. We'll discuss that shortly. Also, Patty Jenkins. Is it wise to let her anywhere near the Star Wars franchise after the worst comic book movie in the history of comic book movies, or at least as bad as Madam Web? WW84, total trash. Please do not let her near Star Wars. We'll talk about that coming up. But our big story tonight is one that is near and dear to MMT. When I started this channel almost 2 years ago now, you look at the theatrical landscape. That's what this channel is built on. Going to the movies, right? Supporting theaters. And when you watch some of these smaller films these days come out of the gate and then stumble and put up these terrible averages and then essentially bomb and disappear, are we in a really bad spot for these smaller indie films? Although we're going to talk about Love Lies Bleeding, a film I really like. We can discuss at length coming up here tonight as I have time for open comments. If you had a chance to see it, please come in. I love Rose Glass's work. I mean, the mood of this film. But when you look at the box office of this film, there is no denying whatsoever that this was not a successful outing for A24. When you look at where this went this weekend, when we start and we look at this, here it is directly from the email from A24. Have a look. Let's roll down and let's get into it. Love Lies Bleeding expanded to 1,362 screens for a total of $2.5 million. Now, they spent it here saying Love Lies Bleeding will continue to expand this weekend as it sets up for a strong theatrical run throughout the weeks ahead. All right? That's them putting a good spin on this. But when you look at the numbers, look straight to Box Office Mojo, look at the average. That's all that matters. $1,825 per. That's terrible. That's bad. Okay, that is empty seats in a ton of theaters. Even at 1,300 screens, it still is a really wretched number. And the problem we have now, when we see a film like Love Lies Bleeding come out, also The Magical Negroes totally bombed for Focus this weekend. I think both these films, I'll be honest with you, both of them do share something in common. The anti-woke crowd probably won't celebrate and will not patronize these films. But let's take that away. Let's just say that across the board, we are seeing films that are not essential to theatrical, that are not essential to IMAX, essential to Dolby, to any of the premium large format screens, is not essential to everybody. Look here, this article, if you didn't see it this week, look at this. This is from IndieWire and a new Harris X study. They just talked to regular people. Do you like going to the movie theater? 2/3 of U.S. adults would rather wait to watch movies on streaming. They don't want to go to the movies. We talk about this all the time on this channel. I love going to the movies. If you don't have A-List or Regal Unlimited, you have to. Guys, it's $25. What else in your life are you going to spend $25 on a month that will give you the joy, or in some cases, the frustration, as I sat through Michael Keaton's direction today? Oh, my God. Wait till we watch that trailer and I go off on that film. That's coming up, too, tonight. But it also gives you films like Love Lies Bleeding. For $25, you get 12 movies. 3 movies a week, 4 weeks, 12 movies, $25. You can't beat it. But look here. Let's read from this. The competition continues between streaming services and the Hollywood engine. While we still see evidence of loyal moviegoers in recent box office numbers, clearly, I mean, you look at a Poor Things at over 100 million worldwide. There are outliers. There are films that are succeeding. No one's saying theatrical's dead. I'm pinpointing these smaller films, and I'm going to get to the point in a second exactly why this is happening. It's very simple. Despite this causing some upheaval in the industry, it also means the demand for content is only increasing. Nearly half of consumers say they stream movies weekly more than 7 times as frequently as those who go to theaters. So obviously, you guys knew this, right? We knew this. I just didn't know it was as bad as it is. When you talk about 2/3 of people are like, nah, I'm just going to wait. And what's the problem? Okay. What's the problem with what we saw when COVID came in and did the number on theatrical that it did? I mean, obviously, the world, we're talking about movies. Stop. I don't want to do it. I'm not getting political. Don't do it, Weber. Fine, I won't. But when you look at how it changed people's expectations from getting the movie at the theater to getting it home. And I remember when they were sending out the invites for the movies, the screenings after COVID died down and we were allowed to open theaters again here in LA, there were critics like my boy Frosty, the biggest beta on planet Earth. Oh, why do I have to leave my house to go? That mindset set in across the globe. I don't want to go anywhere. I just want everything delivered to my house. So when you give people things and they expect them at home, they're not going to come back out to the theaters. And that's the problem that we had happen during COVID. We were giving people these movies on streaming, essentially day and date. Look at what Warner Brothers was doing with Max, right? You were having it in theaters and then also at home, day and date, same day, same date, you get it at home. And look what happened with the numbers. Films disappointed across the board. Go back to look at all of those films that were all day and date Max Warner Brothers films. You look at Matrix, the terrible film, but look at how poorly it did. Because again, you give it to people at home, they're going to watch it at home. So if we are to turn this around, and if Hollywood wants to save these smaller films, granted, we're talking about an A24 film, but that's even more alarming. Because this isn't some random indie film that we're expecting to outperform. We're expecting an A24 film to come in and do some damage, especially from a director. Now, granted, I understand not everyone is familiar with rose glass as I am and had Saint Maud on their #1 film of the year in 2020 because I got to see it before COVID hit. They sent me the link and I was like, and then they yanked it. So this is not necessarily, the smallest indie film, but it also is an A24 film. So it's a reason to really have this discussion tonight. Now, if you want to turn this around, and I'm open to comments about what we're discussing here tonight. We'll spend a little bit of time on this before we get into Dune, before we get into Patty Jenkins destroying Star Wars, get into Michael Keaton, stick to acting. Oh my God, I also so imaginary. That's a film we've got to discuss. But when you look at this, there is one simple answer, and it gets back to what we had before we had COVID. What did we have before we had COVID? We had 90-day theatrical windows. 90 days. That's a long, 3 months is a long fucking time. I mean, come on. That's when you ask someone to wait 3 months to get something at home, what do you think's going to happen? They're probably going to go to the movie theater because people hate FOMO. They don't want to miss out on these movies. And as such, when you force people to go see a movie because it's not going to be at home for 90 days, then you are going to succeed at a much higher level than you would if you give it to them in some cases like 10 days, 17. I mean, it's a joke how quick these windows, they're the tiniest things you've ever seen. What film killed it when its studio said, we're not giving you this film for 120 days? What film? Come in the comments right now. What film? It helped that its star is all about movie theaters, but what film destroyed at the box office when its studio said we are going to do a 120-day window? Yes, we are talking about Top Gun Maverick. Why did that film do what it did? Because of the fact, John, A+, because of the fact that you let everybody know, you broadcast far and wide that the only way to see this movie is you getting your ass in the car and coming down to the theater, AMC, Regal, Cinemark, wherever you go, and you see it there. And Maverick's the kind of film you want to see on the big screen. That's the challenge, I think, that these smaller films have, as I alluded to earlier. when you're not talking about a PLF film, right? An IMAX, a Dolby, these big sound system, things that matter, then you are probably going to have a little different situation for a film like A Love Lies Bleeding. People are like, I'll just wait. I don't need to see that on the big screen. And I can't really debate it. Now, I will say, in the case of Rose Glass and Love Lies Bleeding, you're talking about some filmmaking and some sound and the score that I think you definitely need to see on a big screen in an amazing room. But for the average person, they don't see it that way. They're just like, yeah, I'll wait. Okay, because why? Look, here it is. Theater recliners resonated with 37%. So if your theater has a recliner, that'll get me in the door. Refreshments, 32%. Also, what is the next thing? The movie is exclusively shown in theaters, 30%. Trust me, that number's higher. Because if it's only in theaters, that number's going to be way higher than 30. This is just remember, they're just talking to people like on the phone. What about if the movie's only in theaters? We're like, yeah, 30% of us think that. No, because if it's only in theaters, that number's going to be higher because that's the only place you can see it. Advanced viewing technologies, 3D, IMAX, the PLF, premium large format, 30%. Experience of watching a movie with an audience, 26%. Now, granted, I know a lot of you are probably shouting right now, going to the movie sucks when you have a terrible audience. Today, I had a dog in my movie again. Oh, my God. AMC, stop. Anyone can slap. Let's just be honest with each other. Can we just do it real fast, real fast? Anyone can slap a service animal. You can get it on eBay. I'm sure Amazon. Service animal. Boom, there it goes. Here comes my cat. Here comes my hamster. In this case, a dog. I'm not saying everybody, but I think we all know that people abuse that shit, okay? So maybe it's not always the best to go with an audience, but there is something, and I'm going to say this, and one of the other big reasons that I see here when you look at all the reasons, people want to escape from distractions at home. 39% of people say, I just want to get away from home. I get it. That's the thing that's magical about movies, right? Is that we get a chance to completely turn off the world for most of the days, these days, 2.5 hours. Used to be 90 minutes. Let's call it 2. And just like on the average, that's a longer time than in the past. But you get a chance to turn the phone off, to get away, to lock in. The movie I sat through today, Michael Keaton's Knox Loses It. Something like, it's a terrible title. It's something Knox, something. We'll talk about it. But if I were watching that at home, I would have turned it off. And I'd probably be better off turning it off. But when you're in the theater, you're locked in. Assuming the audience isn't being jackasses with their phones out, talking, all of that shit. Assuming you're in a pristine environment, which luckily, again, I say this whole time in LA, we're lucky. We have that. Wherever I go here in LA, it's very rare that I have anybody who's talking, who's on their phone. It just doesn't happen often. Certainly not at a critic screening, but even at the AMC Burbank, where I spend most of my time here when I go see a movie, I just see it down the street now. I don't even bother driving around LA. I just watch it when it comes out on Thursday like you guys. It's more fun for me too. We can discuss it the night it comes out versus like 7 weeks early. Like we saw Poor Things. People still on me. Oh, you didn't talk about the details of the movie because I saw it 2 months before it opened. Do you want me to ruin the movie? What do you want? That's the point. But when you look at all of the things that theaters offer, you and I love it. We grew up with it. These kids didn't, though. That's the problem, right? Is that these younger kids grew up on streaming. They didn't grow up on going to the movies, right? So it's not as held in high esteem. It's not as religious, if you will, as it is for us. You know, I call these our cathedrals, right? When we walk in, it's almost like, listen, I'm not suggesting, I'm not a heathen. I'm not worshiping Hollywood. But when we go in there, we are in a sacred place where, as Nicole Kidman says, magic happens, right? That's the magic of theaters, is that it really is a teleportation device into the world of the filmmaker, whatever they've created. So how do we get that change for these smaller films? It's very simple, and then I'll go to as many comments as I can. It's very simple. The MMT Council on this, which is exactly what it's going to be going forward. My advice for the client, which is a studio with a smaller film, we have to slap a 30-day window on this. We have to. You cannot make it 15. You can't make it. I want 30. Now, listen to what I'm doing here. I am lobbing off. I am truncating this fucker from 90 to 30. I'm losing 60 days. But at least with 30, you're going to get a few more people that are like, I don't know if I want to wait. I would prefer 45. But remember, it's a negotiation. These studios are not going to go for a lot of these things, the bigger studios. The smaller studios might be like, who gives a shit? Like A24 seems they're all in on theatrical. If you remember, they pulled films from they didn't give films during streaming, during COVID. They were like, we're going to hold this for theatrical. We're going to hold. And that speaks volumes. That's why I am a huge fan of the brand. Even if I trash a lot of their films, ultimately, if I want to see a film that I think I'm going to like or at least be super engaged in, the filmmaking in particular, it's A24. But when you look at a 30-day window, that's a big ask when you go beyond that for some of these studios that are used to getting 17, like Universal, or 10, or day and date, as we just had with Five Nights at Freddy's. God damn, that movie is horrible. What the? Such a horrifically bad film. But it was day and date. And look what it did. With day and date, it killed. Was it opening at was it 100? Was it close? I've forgotten at this point. It was high. It was crazy. It was 80 plus. And that was day and date. So that tells you people come. Now, I think with these smaller films, it's not the same as Five Nights at Freddy's. Not the quality, just the see it with an audience, right? Which is, by the way, if you go back to the article, the number one thing is the experience of watching a movie on the big screen is 59% of the people. So that's the number. So it is about that communal, we're all here, the noise is, the volume's blasting, we're in this thing, nobody's on their phones. Utopia, luckily for me, most of the time, hopefully for you. And that's what we're trying to do. You've got to get this thing to a 30-day window or we're dead. It's that simple. It's not going to last forever with these films because you have people that will just simply wait it out. So I'm going to go 30 days. There's no question that you have to do that. Universal has a dumb policy that if a film doesn't open over 50 million its opening weekend, it'll come out streaming 17 days later. It's a policy that AMC and Regal have to set. The major chains, and that's AMC, Regal, and Cinemark, let's just throw three of them together. They have to set this. They have to come together. They have to issue this proposal to the studios as unilateral. It's across the board. Everything, every studio, you're playing by a 30-day window. And, if you push Universal hard enough, you remember they were pushing, the theaters were pushing the studios during that negotiation period when COVID was kind of like in between. And you saw a lot of that going on. I think you have to, now that we've seen the importance of movie theaters, you have to go back at the studios and go 30 days. 30 days. And I know A24 has been good about at least a 30-day window. Look at how the Iron Claw did so well over Christmas and creeped into the new year because it wasn't on streaming. A24's in. I don't have to worry about them. Neon, pretty much in. Focus seems mostly in, but that's a Universal property, right? So Universal ultimately will make the call on Focus. When you look at these studios, I think we have to go to an industry-wide 30-day window, and there's no exceptions. Now, I understand that's probably going to rule out Netflix, but they're already out. Fuck Netflix. They're out. I don't care. They're not going to play no matter what. I was willing to offer them a 17-day window for Netflix if I were to take over AMC or Regal. 17 days, let's go. Your films are in. They don't even have any interest. That's why we're never going to even bother with Netflix. And by the way, thank you, Academy, for disrespecting all of their films this year. I mean, even though I do believe that Maestro was a well-made film, I think it's the best of the films that I saw by far of their films. But I love the fact the Academy's like, no, we're not going to give you anything. I mean, they won the short, right? They won. But that wasn't even about Netflix, right? That was about the filmmaker. So when you look at Netflix, they're not in it even at a 17-day window. So I think really we need to get to a 30-day window. Otherwise, we're all going to be screwed because we're not going to get these movies in theaters. It's going to go away. And I think we're already in trouble. You look at the numbers, you look at what's coming, you talk about, I know Omega Swiper's in here tonight talking about, hey, if you've got the what's it called? The Vision Pro, right? You slap that thing on your face. That's what everyone's going to be doing. I'm never going to do that. That's not how I live, right? You guys know that. At the gym, I go to the movies. I do my life. I do not slap a device on my face and walk around looking like an imbecile. I mean, I might do the back end of that, look like an imbecile, but not with it slapped on my face. So when you look at the way that I live my life, I hope you do too. I don't want to see anybody, even if Mega's wife, if you like that thing, God bless. Just get out and experience the world. All right, couple comments, and we're going to go into some more of what's happening here tonight, including Dune 2. Can it get to $1 billion? That's a really interesting story because it's going to compare very favorably with Oppenheimer. Not quite, but close, okay? So we know we're in the ballpark. Tom, Kristen Stewart's not a box office draw. Spencer did okay. Again, that was during the COVID weird shit. So, I mean, yeah, if you look at her outside of Twilight, you got to remember, she picks weird things. She's not, she did do Charlie's Angels, which I didn't hate, but that wasn't a huge hit, right? It's interesting because Kristen Stewart does get all this attention, and you wonder when you look at the receipts versus the attention, it doesn't add up. I agree with that. You look at a Sydney Sweeney, it's kind of the opposite, right? Sydney Sweeney is not just everyone's talking about her. She also is delivering bank. Look at what Anyone But You just did. Insane. I mean, she is the it girl. And I think that next film from Neon, what is it called? The communicate, whatever it is, it's the church movie, whatever it's called. Immaculate Reception. The Immaculate Conception. It's the Madonna movie. Isn't that what her album was called? But I think you look at, she's successful, and she also is the it girl. Kristen Stewart probably, you look, and I just think back to Charlie's Angels, you go back to Spencer, you go back to some of her other small films. What was the one where she was the assistant? Oh God. I like the movie a lot, but these are small films. Really small. She's more of an indie darling, just like Robert Pattinson until he did Batman. Outside of Twilight, doesn't count. But I think a lot of these actors, I give them credit. I would do the same thing if I had money. I would be making all these really weird films. I mean, at least cool films, small films. I wouldn't even be interested in blockbusters. Love Lies Bleeding is a really good movie. I would have cut out the sex scenes because I think those types of scenes are pointless in movies. Gone Girl, and it's interesting as you say that, and we'll talk about Love Lies Bleeding throughout the night because I love the film. I would agree. And what's interesting is, and I know Gone Girl, you don't think this, is we're not talking about the fact that it's a lesbian sex scene. That's not why. I don't want to see sex at all. I don't want to see gay sex. I don't want to see straight sex. I don't want to see, what is it when a dude does an animal? I don't want to see any of it. I don't want to see bestiality. I don't want to see any of this shit. Okay? So it's not about the lesbian. It's about sex scenes are weird. I've said this before. If I want to watch sex, I'll crank on Pornhub, Xhamster, any number of porn sites. I don't need to go watch. So it's awkward. There was a movie called Passages this past year, which I kind of liked. I like Ira Sachs a lot. I don't think the movie's nearly as good as Love is Strange. That's a fantastic film. If you haven't seen Love is Strange, you got to watch it. But when you watch Passages, there's a very graphic gay sex scene. And it wasn't the fact that it was gay that was making me uncomfortable. It was the fact that it's a sex scene. It was graphic. I'm like, shit, I go home and turn on xxxvideos.org if I want to do he's getting into his inside knowledge of porn sites. Who doesn't go to porn sites? Give me a break. Like we're all, no one ever. I don't do that. Give me a break. I never have time to stream because I'm at the theater so much. Listen, Johnny, you're like me. You probably go 3 times a week. I've already used 2 of my 3 AMCs this week. I saw Imaginary, we'll talk about shortly, and I saw Knox, whatever the hell it is, the Michael Keaton directed film that was not great. I can't wait to talk about that film in a few minutes. Only 4 people in my theater for Love Lies Bleeding today. I don't doubt it. I mean, again, this is a film that's not going to perform well outside of New York, LA, Chicago, the major cities. When you get into a Dayton, Ohio, when you get into a Wichita, Kansas, you're talking about nobody. You're talking about these people aren't going to go watch a movie that features a lesbian couple. The thing is like, right, I'm not right or left. You guys know that. I'll go either way. It's all about, it doesn't matter. I just don't want to be messaged, hard message. I don't think this movie does hard messaging. It certainly is a lesbian couple, but it's not like that's what it just keeps bashing that. It's a love story. Whether they're lesbian, straight, doesn't matter. Love story. That's all we're looking at. Same thing with Passages. That scene wasn't uncomfortable for me because of the fact it's gay. It's because it's just uncomfortable. So that's the thing is when you look at I think I've got her. I don't know. She seems the camera adds 10 pounds, Spidey Sensei. We'll come back to Love Lies Bleeding, I promise, but I do want to get into this. Can Dune hit 1 billion? It's a question right now at $500 million after 3 weekends, right? You're saying maybe. Could it? I don't think we're going to get there. And let me tell you where we are, because I talked about this morning. If you missed it on Breaking Box Office, let me just lay it out for you quick. We'll get to this and we'll move on. I just want to talk. These are things we just want to discuss. And then, of course, when we get at the end of the show, we can bring it back. Questions I don't get to, hit me. Super chat as always. That's easy. But when we talk about Dune 2 at 500 million, the easy comparison is what I've been talking from day one about this film is what? It is Oppenheimer. And are you ready for me to show you exactly why it is Oppenheimer? If everyone was like, why are you comparing it to Oppenheimer? What do you mean, why? Here's why I'm comparing it to Oppenheimer. Because look at the numbers here. Okay, this is the weekend direct from Warner Brothers email. I'm going to show you where we are right now. Okay, I didn't have this morning, so it came in late. Here it is tonight. 494.7 million through Sunday. Okay, that's 3 weeks. Okay, that is almost 500. Now, let me pull up the Oppenheimer email from August 6th of last year, 3 weeks in. What was Oppenheimer at? 552.9. So it is about $57 million behind worldwide after 3 weekends. They are very close. They're obviously comparables. Hello, look at the numbers we're looking at. But I don't think that we're going to end up like Oppenheimer at $950 million worldwide. That's not going to be a loss. We're already at 500 after 3. I think we get to 750. I said 775. If we hit 775, guys, I want gifts. I want to be showered with gifts. Because I nailed the number. I said 775 when it came at 775. Let's go through just, by the way, country by country for just a couple quickly, and then we'll shoot ahead to Patty Jenkins, because I can't believe that Disney is going to let her touch Star Wars. I can't. After Wonder Woman, no, don't fucking do it. Number 1 film internationally, globally, 3rd weekend in a row. No shit. Okay. 3rd weekend drops were fantastic. You're looking at minus 25 up to minus 37. So the best hold was minus 24. The worst was minus 37. United States minus 37. That's great, guys. We talk about a drop from weekend to weekend of 50 is okay. Anything above that's terrible. We're talking about 2 weekends. The first weekend was in the 40s. This weekend is now below 40. That's great. At least the film is holding. Why is it holding? We talked about it this morning, because there's no competition. Love Lies Bleeding is not competition for this movie. This weekend, we do get competition with Ghostbusters. I don't even care. Honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to see. I mean, I'll see it. Okay, I'll go see it Thursday. I'm not interested. I'm not excited at all for Ghostbusters. But it is competition. So it interests me from a box office perspective. This will be the first head-to-head true competitor, because even Kung Fu Panda 4 is more of a child play. There's certainly families, but it's not direct. This is more of a direct head-to-head, young audiences, and bleeding into the nostalgia audience, right? Gen X, my generation and beyond, because they grew up with Ghostbusters in the 80s. So it's going to be an issue, but let's look. So as we look here, let's go market by market. China is, and listen, we talked about how big China is to these things. 36 million. You're talking about $36 million that you have after 2 weekends, only 2 in China, and it's going to keep going up. So this is working. Look how many screens it's on there, by the way. 20,000. 20,000 screens in China. That's crazy. Guys, we get 4,000 here. 20,000 screens? What the hell? UK is up to 32. So look, China's number 1 on the board. So you take China out, that's a big, percentage-wise of the world market, that's a big deal. UK 32, Germany 25, down and down we go all the way to Spain at about 10. Top markets, Cume, China 36, you see, we just did that. So again, guys, we are looking at a situation where the film is holding well, and I think that we're going to end up at about 775. Do you think you can get above that? It's not going to get to $1 billion. There's no way it gets to $1 billion. But can it get above 775 is the question. Because we're getting up in that. I think Dune 2 will probably make as much as the Batman 750, right? Which is what I remember. This is why you come here, Real Opinion. This is why you come here. What did I say about Dune? And when they moved it, what was the first thing I said when they moved Dune out of 2023 into 2024 and they gave it the date? What did I tell you? I said the Batman. Warner Brothers goes, that's the Batman. Oh my God, I feel like I'm Trump for a second. Don't freak out. It's the Batman. And when you look at that movie and what it did in the exact same space, that's what Warner Brothers was thinking. And look, they're probably going to get 750, 775. Could happen. So it worked out for Warner Brothers. And, back to, can it still be an Oscars film? Of course it can, because what you're looking at is dragging a film from now for a whole year. It's not easy, trust me, but it's been done in the past. Black Panther, Get Out, Everything Everywhere, most recently. So it can happen, okay? The Batman got nominations, if you remember, 3, right? Sound, cinematography, and effects, I believe, right? Were those the 3? So when you look at Dune, it's going to be fine. I think when you look at this year, we talked about it last week, and you fire up the films from this year, and maybe we'll do that at the end, but right now I don't want to do it because we did it last week, it's a pretty weak year. At least it looks that way on paper. Everything can change as we get into award season, but right now Dune's going to be fine for that way. I think that we're going to be in good shape. Ghostbusters will be average. The Frozen thing does seem lame. The movie just, the trailer, if that's the best parts, you just gave it all away. Here's Bill Murray. Here's the old gang. Here's this. I love seeing what's his name from Real Genius, right? The guy who played Professor. I love that actor. He's so fantastic. He's now really old. But when I watch the trailer, I'm like, oh my God, that's Professor Help Me from Real Genius. I've only watched Real Genius, no joke, guys, 30 plus times in my life. It's one of my favorite films ever. The spirit of Real Genius is so just perfect. It's a college film that has humanity, smarts, everything. If you've never seen Real Genius, you have to watch it. He does look miserable, doesn't he? Bill Murray looks totally unhappy, and it's a money play for him. He probably didn't want to do it, and they said, here, how about 10 million, right? He probably just said no, and then just kept saying no, knowing that they just drive the number up. And then he said, oh, if they ever hit 10 million, I'll say yes. Because I guarantee he's in the movie for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. He's not in it for long. It's kind of, it's a lot of times they'll take a performance, and you go to the movie that I saw today, Michael Keaton's new movie, Knox something. We're going to watch the trailer in a minute. I'm going to review the movie after we're going to watch the trailer. I'm going to pause, rip on the movie, let the trailer play. Lionsgate's going to let us play the trailer. I'm not worried about copyright. No one cares about Knox something. But guess who's in the movie? Al Pacino. And when I watched the trailer, I'm like, Al Pacino's in the movie for no joke, like 2.5 minutes. And if you watch the trailer, it looks like Al Pacino's in the movie the entire time, because in the trailer is 2.5 minutes. It's Al Pacino. I'm like, he's only in the movie for like 2.5 minutes. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch the Roadhouse remake. Is it on now? It's not in theaters. You guys know how I feel about that. I'm just not. It doesn't get me hard. Don't allow Patty Jenkins near Star Wars. Just don't. Are you kidding me that you're even considering this? Lucasfilm, Disney. What are you doing? Kennedy, Kathleen, what are you doing? Why are you even entertaining this idea? Because when you watch Wonder Woman 84, and we've all watched it, if you haven't, you've got to watch it. Don't make me do it again. It's arguably the worst CBM of all time. I would put it certainly on par with Madam Web, and the reason why it's, in my estimation, worse, it's Wonder Woman. You had a very strong first film, and then you gave us that shit? Wonder Woman 84? With magic dildos and no 80s music? Even though it's set in 84, one of the best years ever for music? There's one 80s song? Who directed this shit? It's terrible. Guys, that alone, it should be director jail forever. We talk about director jail for this, director jail that. Patty Jenkins making Wonder Woman 84 and putting one 80s song in the background of a bar that wasn't even a hit. How does she ever work again in this town? I don't care what she's done. I don't care about Wonder Woman. When you make Wonder Woman 84, you lose all privileges forever. It's so horrible. She's writing. Oh my God, she's writing Rogue Squadron. She's not just. What did I tell you about this? If you're gonna let Patty Jenkins back in the door, you can't let her write. She can't write. We've talked about this before. Directors that can write and they can direct. Some can, some cannot. Some are better directors than writers. Some are better writers than directors. I will point to two. I think when you look at a better director than writer, you're looking at Sam Mendes. Go look at Empire of Light. We talk about it so many times. A movie I've brought up only about 1 million times here on MMT. A movie none of you have watched. Maybe you hopefully have by now. You're going to see a movie that's directed and has amazing assembly and calibration. The problem is the screenplay. He wrote it. Not as good. Okay. Alexander Payne, better writer than director. Though, I will say that I was impressed with The Holdovers. I don't think he's a bad director. I just think as a writer, even though he didn't write that, so that doesn't really count. So when you look at, not everybody's able to do both. And when you look at Wonder Woman 84, you are looking at an abysmal script, and one that, as I finished watching the screener during COVID, they sent it to me. My first reaction, I can go back and find the tweet. I can't believe that Warner Brothers greenlit the script that I just watched. I cannot believe that someone said we're going to make this movie with magic dildos and Chris Pine being raped, what the hell was that all about? I don't even want to, honestly, my brain's hurting thinking of the movie. And no 80s songs set in 84. Like, listen, we talk about like Captain Marvel, and they set in the 90s. What's up? They have 90s songs, and it's built in seamlessly, like any film, like Gunn would do, like Gunn did with Guardians. Any film that's set in a year, like certainly in the title, 84, you better have some 84 songs in it, and just seamlessly, like in the mall. The first thing she just crank up an 84 song. What was Madonna's first song? Was it Borderline in 84? That wouldn't have worked in the scene. There's a billion songs. Hold on. Let me get the films of the movies of 1984. Give me a second. The songs. Give me a second. Songs of 1984. Okay, here we go. You guys ready? Okay, I'm gonna find any one of these songs are gonna be better, and they didn't use. Okay. Oh my God, The Glamorous Life by Sheila E. That would have been better. They didn't use that. She's an embarrassment. She is, after that movie, I'm telling you guys, she can't ever direct again. We can't have her ever near a movie camera. It just, she certainly can't write a movie. Wait, where's my comments? I just lost all of my comments. Are you guys still there? Give me all my comments are gone. What just happened? My whole thing disappeared. All right, here we go. Summer of 69, Bryan Adams, of course, yes. Wonder Woman 84 is a great example of a film that desperately needed heavy studio interference. It needed it. Oh, 100%. I say that all the time. She had all the clout of the first film. She believed her own hype, 100%. Oh, my God. Patty can just make another monster. Yeah, I mean, that's where she started, right? And then she did fine with the first one. Then it was just terrible. Exactly, Gone Girl. Air, 100%. The seamless weaving and meshing of 80s songs into the film. I completely agree with you. Really good. Grace Randolph said she doesn't like Wonder Woman 84. Patty Jenkins shouldn't be. Good. Then that's two things we agree on. Two, Wonder Woman, it's so bad it's good. No, it's not. And even, what's his name? Pedro Pascal's like, what the hell? Here it comes. Okay, you guys asked for it. Here we go. We are going to watch a trailer, and then I'm going to review the movie. Listen, guys, this is going to be fun. Trust me, because you're never going to watch this movie. So just be ready to watch a movie that you're never going to watch. I'm going to give my review as we watch the trailer for, give me 1 second. I've got to pull it up. It's called Knox Goes Away. What would you ever in a million years think you'd want to see a movie called Knox Goes Away? Well, get ready, guys. Here it comes. I'm going to give my review as we watch the trailer. Let's watch.
I've been doing this job a long time. People like to talk about the targets. Think it made them feel better.
Why don't you care who the guy is?
They never got what it was really all about.
There's Al Pacino. I told you they worked him into the trailer. He's in the movie for 2 minutes.
Which was done 10 minutes. They're not going to be anybody.
Can I just say at this point, right now, this is better than the movie I sat through. Because why? Trailers are all... If you can't make a 2-minute trailer that's good, the problem... Okay, let me just lay out what happens in Knox Go Away. Here, we'll give it just another minute on the trailer so you can get an idea what's happening. He's a hitman. and he's losing his mind.
Knox, you okay? Knox.
Oh God, it's Lionsgate in Saban Films. That's why. Okay, here it goes. He's diagnosed with dementia. So he has dementia, and he's a hitman with dementia, and he has to clean up some shitty work because he keeps forgetting. I didn't think I was going to start laughing at this moment because I'm thinking back to the movie. Who made this movie? He has to remember, like Memento, like Mr. Magoo, what happened, and he's making dumb mistakes. Like he kills his partner because he doesn't remember who he is, so he just shoots him. And so then here, let's watch a little more of the trailer. This is so fantastic. I'm dying. I am literally about ready to start crying.
How much time do I have?
How much time?
Weeks. Not much.
So now he's been diagnosed with fatal
Even if I hated you for telling me,
disease.
I'd forget sooner enough.
Now watch. This is where the movie gets even worse. Just wait. I was like, okay, what's going to happen in this movie at this point? Get ready. Here comes the big twist. Someone's knocking on the door.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to show up like this. Do I know you? Dad, please. Miles, what happened?
It's his son, Tom. What's his ass?
So
Okay. Wait. Hold on, guys. This shot in the movie was so bad. So the son, played by what's his name? The guy from Sonic. You know, the good-looking guy. Is Tom someone rather, isn't he? You got the blue eyes, good-looking guy. But he's so overacting in this movie. What's his name, guys? I don't want to look it up. What's that guy's? James Marsden. I didn't need your help. None of you helped. Memento for old people. My audience was all old people, including me. All right. So wait. James Marsden. Yes. Okay. So listen. So he goes and James Marsden goes and kills a guy who raped his daughter. All right. And he turns out, this is how bad the film is. The guy who raped the daughter is some neo-Nazi guy. So it's okay to kill him because he has a swastika on his arm. I mean, he raped the girl. So isn't that enough? No, we have to also make him a white supremacist. And therefore, he really deserved to die, as you see his blood-stained shoe there. Hold on. We're going to continue. This is a spoiler review, by the way. Sorry, guys. Oh, hold on. Wow. That is something else right there. A career best performance. Who the hell is Chris Bumbray from JoeBlow.com? Holy shit, Chris. You are the shill of the week. In mid-show, we're making you the shill of the week. A career best. It's fine. It's a performance in a very bad film. I mean, this script, let's continue. Oh, my God, Chris, say it isn't so. But by the way, do you like the kind of like the Memento look? So much. By the way, they shot this near the Vons that I shop at. It's in Burbank. I was watching, guys, I'm not even kidding you. I was watching the movie today, and I'm like, I know where that is. I ride my bike through that area. It's right by Vons. By the way, guess who shops at Vons? Viola Davis. She shops there as well. I walked in last time I was there. One last time. And I look, and I'm going through the aisles, and I'm like looking, I'm like, what the hell? It's Viola Davis, and she's buying English muffins. I'm like, what is she doing here? It's totally a direct to Redbox movie. But hold on, let's continue.
Does he hate you so much?
Oh, by the way, that's the girl from Cold War. I love Cold War. She's in this movie. I don't know what her agent was doing and putting in this movie, but Cold War is awesome. This movie's not. Okay, then he has to. So listen. So now, losing his mind, he has to go in and then fix the fact that his son's blood is all over the scene. Because he's a hitman, he's able to go in and clean it up so that his son isn't guilty of killing the pervert who raped his daughter. Is this good? I think I'm doing a really good job with this review. So there he is stashing the knife. I'm ruined. Lionsgate's going to be so furious if they watch the stream. But too bad. Your movie sucks. All right. I don't remember a cop. That scene wasn't even in the movie. There wasn't a cop driving in the rain. Where did that come from? It wasn't even in the movie. What the hell is this?
You don't pull this off.
It's one of those, they shoot a scene and it's like it's in the trailer, not the movie.
This all goes to hell.
Oh, by the way, did you see Pacino again? A mind-bended, twisted journey. Christy Puchko. Holy shit. This script's terrible. Christy Puchko, you are shill number 2. This script, and let me tell you, there's a couple, this annoys the hell out of me. How many of you saw The Beekeeper? This is a real problem with movies. I don't know who's doing this. It wasn't the same writer, so it's weird. Like, I feel like whoever's going into massaging these scripts is the same person, because maybe it's AI. Honest to God, hold on. I might have just come to this. Okay, so if you saw The Beekeeper, not a good movie, right? We can all agree, not a good movie. But you remember the cops, the FBI agents, and their banter that was wildly like out of tone with the film. It was like they were cracking sex jokes and cracking on each other, and it's like, well, this is supposed to be like kind of a serious movie, and it's like they're trying to do comedy. That's what happens in this movie. The cops start doing like a comedy routine. I'm like, what the fuck? What is this? I think AI is trying to make cops funny in these movies. It's like the same thing. The characters are doing the same thing. I'm like, why are they doing this? Why are the cops like telling jokes? There's an Asian detective and her friend who's in like the local ads for the internet provider here, Frontier. He's the cop, the two of them, and they go back and forth like a comedy routine. This is terrible.
I'm getting worse every hour. It's like a curtain coming down.
And his brain's leaving. He's losing it, and he has to clean it up before he loses his mind. I can't watch another second of this. This is a brilliant. It's exactly that's what this is. This is exactly what we're talking about. It's too much shit. Why are these films have so much shit packed into them, and then they overthink the finish, right? It's not just that he has to get his son out of being framed, that his son did kill the guy. He has to get him out of it. He has to then frame himself so that he has to go back in and look like he killed it because he's going to die. It's so overthought and overwrought that you're like, why am I sitting here watching Knox Goes Away? This is 100%, and I'm so glad that you guys saw this, that this is absolutely a direct-to-Redbox movie. That's all I could think. It's so bad, Omega Swiper. It's so bad. I can already picture the generic horrendous Lionsgate Blu-ray cover for this. Let's just watch just another minute, just another second. I mean, they're already going to copyright me, so screw them. They made me sit through this.
You turned me in. That's not true, Dad. You're losing it. Something's wrong with you.
A must-see. Holy shit. Christy Puchko, you've lost everything. Whatever credibility Christy Puchko's had, it's gone. I mean, there's no coming back from a must-see for Knox Goes Away. This is clearly someone trying to get on a poster, because they screened this at, I want to say, Toronto last year, or was it wherever? I want to say Toronto, and no one cared. Like, look who picked it up: Lionsgate and Saban Film. That's a junk. That's junk. Oh, fine, we'll do Imaginary next. We'll watch the Imaginary trailer. You know what? If worse comes to worse, we'll just watch. I'll riff on the trailer and review it until they say you can't do that, which is fine. No one's watching Knox Goes Away. A must see. Holy fuck. It looks good, though. No, not you, Owen Gleiberman. Silky and entrancing. Oh, my God. It looks okay. It has a decent visual look to it. You guys can see the coloring. It's very drivey / Emily the criminally. A lean. There it is again. A lean. It's not lean. It's like 2 hours long, and it's needlessly overwrought. What are you talking about? Clever and original. It's Mr. Magoo meets Memento. What are we doing? Who are these people? This is Owen Gleiberman from Variety. These people are terrible at their jobs. This is why you can only trust me. I'm the only person you can trust.
Good luck.
There's Pacino again. All 2 minutes of him in the movie is in the trailer. Pete Hammond liked it. Oh, what a surprise. Pete Hammond liked it.
I swore I'd never be like you. And here we are.
He just delivers it like Batman, doesn't he? Oh my God, did they? Kuzma, it's bad. It's just bad. I mean, like I said, it's just start with so many needless complications to a script, but also original. What are you? We just saw this movie and that terrible Ben Affleck movie, the same kind of thing, Hypnotic. Remember how none of you saw it? That was horrible. He didn't. Keaton did not come to promote it at TIFF. He knew it was terrible. He's like, I directed a shit film. Oh, TIFF, I was right. It's bad. Guys, it's not a good film. It belongs at Redbox. All right, you guys ready to talk about Imaginary? Let's go ahead and do that. Oh God, I don't know if I can show as much Imaginary because I'll probably get in trouble for showing Imaginary because it's like, it's also Lionsgate, so who cares? You know what? Can I just say for everyone who's sitting here saying, hold on, for everyone who's saying, hey, Lionsgate should be happy with me. Why? I called John Wick 4 the greatest action movies ever made. That quote went everywhere. That quote went to People magazine. So Lionsgate, if you're watching this stream, you can let me show Knox Goes Away and Imaginary in the stream. It's okay. I gave you a quote to sell your movie that did crazy numbers because I called it one of the best action movies ever made. So let me play Knox Gets Wet. Whatever it's called. And Imaginary. They're both from Lionsgate. You guys owe me. You owe me for that quote, and I'm going to use it tonight. I'm taking out all of my cash. I'm cashing out, and I'm watching the trailer for Imaginary, and I'm going to hammer this film too.
Culture has a name for it. We call them Imaginary.
Okay, real quickly, this is Imaginary. Oh my God, this is actually fun where I get to riff on the stuff. I wish I could do this. We'll just do it until they kick us off. Quickly, Imaginary. It's another haunted house movie with a child that's been attached with an entity has attached himself or itself to a child. We just saw. Do you guys see that movie Come Play? That's a cool little film. It was out during COVID. In fact, it's one of the first movies back in theaters. I went to see it in the theater. It's about an autistic boy who has a boogeyman in his house, and only he can see it. And then the boogeyman's freaky. It's got a great ending. I like Come Play. This is not as nearly as good. So the teddy bear is the imaginary ghost in this movie. Okay, let's just watch a little bit. They're moving into the house that's possessed because the ghost lives in the basement.
Such good memories here. Maybe my happy place can be our happy place.
That's the stepmom, by the way. No, it's a court. By the way, this is how bad Imaginary is. Yes, wait. Can we just roll that back for a second? This is not Universal Blumhouse. This is Lionsgate Blumhouse. So this is how bad it was. This is how it went. I know how this town works. Blumhouse is like, we have this script called Imaginary, and it's really awesome. And what they don't tell Lionsgate is Universal's like, fuck no, we're not making this movie. They said, listen, we make a lot of shitty movies with you, starting with Five Nights at Freddy's and certainly Halloween Kills and Ends. But we're not making Imaginary. There's a line. We're not making this movie about a teddy bear that's possessed. And then we've seen this movie, and it by the way, it turns into, of all films at the end, Labyrinth. This movie's insane. But they we don't want this. And then they go, hey, Lionsgate. Hey, Lionsgate, guess what? We have a movie for you. It's Blumhouse. Look how many movies we've had. Look, we just came off of Five Nights at Freddy's. You want to? Here it is. And they, okay, fine, we'll make it.
I'm playing a new game with Chauncey.
The scavenger
Chauncey's the
hunt
bear.
list. That's fun.
Chauncey says you're not allowed to play with us.
Oh.
Because you left him. I need something happy.
How many times have we seen that, right? Where the imaginary things like Chauncey doesn't like you, right? And then she's like, Chauncey didn't talk. And then what's going to happen eventually? She's going to come across something where Chauncey's talking, or she's talking through Chauncey, and then, oh my God, the bear's alive. Ah! There is a little bit of a twist with the bear. I'm not going to say what I don't want to ruin the movie for those of you that really want to see Imaginary. I mean, it's been out for 10 days now. Okay, let's scoot ahead because the movie is just pretty traditional and all this until the girl disappears and she goes into the blue door. When she goes in the blue door, this movie goes fucking bonkers. I was like, what am I watching? They are inside like the Labyrinth world. Did he? I mean, I bet he did. They're inside Labyrinth. and there's all these dimensional shit going on, and they're trying to chase down the ghost that now is a gigantic evil teddy bear. Let's see if we can find a picture of him.
But we're gonna find her.
But they go into the wall. When the movie goes in the wall, it just goes bonkers, and I was laughing like big time. I was having a lot of fun with imaginary. There it is. There's the imaginary world inside the wall. But that said, this movie's terrible. No, that's not the twist. The dad, by the way, is in like a indie band. It's like, what? Who writes this shit? It's overthought. Why can't it just be a family? It's always got to be a divorced family. It's got to be something so they can interject the weird mom who has a mental problem. Of course, you have the teddy bear. You got the bratty, shitty 15-year-old sister who turns out to not be so bad at the end. These are all the tropes we've seen a million times, and this is why clearly Universal was like, we don't want to make this movie. We don't have any interest in imaginary. We're going to give this to Lionsgate. Because let's just be honest. At this point, Lionsgate, you kind of owe me for the quote, so I'm allowed to do this. When you talk about studios in, the greater LA area in Hollywood, you're talking about, right, which are the highest esteemed studios? We're talking Warner Brothers or Disney, even though they're going through their shit, right? You're talking Paramount, the history, right? Go MGM, Sony. You go in, you look at any of these studios, and you say Universal, obviously. And then you get to Lionsgate. Like, if this were a dating app, this would be like choice number 10, right? It's like, nah, one doesn't want you to. Lionsgate's interested. I'm gonna swipe left. Wait, which ones? I don't do the date. Whichever. I think it's swipe left, right? No, I'm not interested. I'm not selling my movie to Lionsgate. I mean, the only thing worse than selling your movie to Lionsgate is like STX. That's when you're playing in like no man's zone. Like, you'd rather not have your film made than have it distributed by STX. This is what we do better than any. We're almost at the hour, by the way. I didn't even know if I wanted to do a stream. This stream was off the chain. I had probably the most fun I've had in a long time because we do things that no one else does. No one else can do what we're doing right now. You know that. Just give me a like because you know that's true. Nobody can do what we're doing right now because you have to have this weird knowledge of how this town operates, along with an extremely high movie IQ when it comes to evaluation, which is what you're getting. And then we get to hammer films that Christy Puchko called a must-see. Guys, you can make fun of me all you want for Ant-Man 3 for what it is, fun as hell. Here's what I'm going to tell you. If you call Knox Gets Wet a must-see, it's over. Like, it's done. We can't ever listen to you ever. Like, you might as well never issue another opinion about anything. You just called Knox Gets Wet a must-see, and it's over. It's over. Yeah, the budget was $10 million. That's really good for $10 million. All right, open comment time. I think I got to everything. We're going to get hammered with I know I'm going to get hammered with all kinds of stuff. You can't run the trailer. Yeah, I just did. Screw you guys. Lionsgate, you owe it to me. You owe it to me. What just happened? I just lost. Okay, tonight's kid is Norwich City. This is one of my favorite kits. One of the first, when I started collecting football kits, this is one of the first ones I ordered directly from Norwich. I love it. It's one of my favorites. Whenever I wear it out, everyone goes, dude, that is badass. Because we've got the St. Patty's Day green going on. It's got this kind of dark edge to it. I love it. One of my favorites. Of all of the kits I have, over 100, this is probably in the top 5, easy top 5. All right, open comment time. Let's do it. I think we got to everything, and that was fun. You guys are awesome. 25%. Who gave it a positive? Time out for a second. I didn't want to do this, and now you're going to make me go to Rotten Tomatoes and call out some critics. I didn't want to do this. You asked for Richard. It's your fault. Everyone blame Richard for what I'm about to do. Here we go. You guys ready? Let's find it. Where the hell is it on here? Imagine 26. You lied to us. Richard, you lied. It's at 26%. All right, let's find someone who said it was good. Oh, God. Oh, Lord. Let's see. Oh, there. Oh, no. No, it's not. Oh, my God. Look who it is. Look who says this is good. Oh, my God. This This couldn't. These are the moments that this show is off the chain. I don't care if the phrase is totally played out right now. This is total cosmic coming together of the universe. We just hammered this critic for saying Knox Gets Wet is a must-see. And now we have Christy Puchko calling Imaginary a bit unwieldy. It is a playfully deranged movie that's sure to be a hit at slumber parties, but grown-ups can enjoy its spirited scares. If you're talking about laughing at it, this is a bad, man, that's bad. This is a bad one, too, for her. Guys, listen, just be honest right now. Have I ever had, this is terrible. This is going from Knox Gets Wet to Imaginary, both fresh. One, a must-see. We have, guys, I could do this for another 3 decades and never have that combination where I've missed, poor thing. Movie's terrible. When you look at the movie making's not the movie, the script, what happens in that film, abomination. I'm right all the time, but this is terrible. This is really bad. That's a whole Star Corner. Oh my God. Richard, you are amazing. Richard, I want to thank you for being here because I didn't even expect that. That was, you don't, this is what's weird. This show does this sometimes. You remember the night that we started calling out Eric Davis and then all of a sudden all the Eric Davis reviews disappeared and it was like, what the, you guys remember, who was here for that? It was the weirdest thing. I was like, Eric Davis, shill of the year. And all of a sudden, all the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes disappeared. All of them. We hit the button. You all looked. It was gone. It was all gone. And we were like, what? That's what just happened. We literally just made fun of someone saying it's a must-see, and the same critic is calling Imaginary a great film. Listen, I will say I can see Imaginary being a cult classic if you want to watch a movie and just rip on it. Mystery Science 3000, right? Just totally rip on the film. It's 100% that. 100%. Watch it. Maestro's not totally abomination against humanity. Come on. Listen, I like his filmmaking. Bradley Cooper, go back to Stars Born. I think he's a very talented director. I know he's working with extremely talented Matthew Libatique cinematographers, but he also has to have a feel for the film. I think he does. I'm not saying I love the script of Maestro, but I love the filmmaking of Maestro, and you guys know how I feel about that. When a filmmaking is up, then the movie's probably going to be up. The thing about, then you're going to say Knox Goes Away has a nice look, but it doesn't have anything that's interesting within the filmmaking. Cinematography is fine. It's like cinematography, whatever, maybe slight plus, not even, maybe just flat. And we have to be pushing levels in different places high to get me a high review on something that maybe I don't love from a screenplay perspective if I love the tech. A couple of things we'll get to real opinion. I think Dune 2 will make more as much about. Oh, we already did that. We did you. Looking for any super chats. You guys are cheap as hell. All y'all cheap. That's fine. I honestly don't care. Oh, can we just do let's just wrap the show with Sydney Sweeney. That's a perfect way to do this. I saw this and you guys are amazing. You guys are leading. I forgot all about this. Let's watch Sydney Sweeney read the Bible. Give me a second. Everyone knows terrible spot for the Bible to be.
Chapter 2
needs to be
verses 23
bad.
to 24.
Put it on a bench or something.
From there, Elijah went up to Bethel. As he was walking along the road, some boys came out of town.
Neon's going to hell.
Get out of here, Baldy, they said. Get out of here, Baldy. He turned around, looked at them, and called down a curse.
I love it. Let's just get to the point that we're all waiting for. There it is. The thing is here's what I will say. I like the world that we're in, that guys can now say we're watching Sydney Sweeney for the cleavage. That's just what we're allowed. If people don't like that, I got 2 words for you. Fuck and off. I don't care. We don't care anymore. We're not going to be judged. That's what she clearly is presenting to the world. So don't come into my world and say, you're a terrible person for leering in her boobs. That's what she's doing. Why do you think she wears low-cut stuff everywhere? Every guy notices it. We're guys. It's what we notice. I also notice good-looking dudes. I say it all the time. Brad Pitt. My tongue would be out. Brad Pitt. Oh. It's like It's okay, but it's accepted. We're done. I'm not going to, and we're not going to be shamed. Oh, how dare you think of her as a sex object? Just because, I got news for you, honey, just because you're not a sex object doesn't mean we can't look at her like she is. Why don't you try to become a sex object? The fact that you're unattractive. No, okay, now it's Weber's doing it again. He's doing it again. But it is great to see Sydney Sweeney again. And don't come in with the comment. Yeah, I'll see Immaculate this week. It's Immaculate. Thank you, you guys. I knew it was something to do with the church and something. Exactly. Coach sipping Jamba Juice out of a straw. I'll not be shamed for being a man. Exactly. Who cares? Yeah. Well, she knows. She knows. She's totally so. Exactly. That's the whole thing. Exactly. Just have fun with it. It's fine. We're allowed to do these things, right? We're allowed. All right, guys. That's it tonight. That was fun. Thank you for being here. What a fun show. I was like earlier, I don't know what we're gonna talk about. And then I was like, nah, we'll just. I really, you know what I do like? I love riffing on a movie with the trailer. The problem is tomorrow they're gonna Lionsgate doesn't like the fact that you ripped on Knox Gets Wet. I'm like, oh, come on, man. I gave you a perfect quote for your John Wick 4. I didn't even try. I just said, because it is one of the greatest. Come on, Lionsgate. Can I please plead my case one more time? I gave you a quote that sold, I would guess, minimum. You guys think this is fair? $50 million extra in tickets, right? So $50 million that quote was worth. One of the greatest action movies ever made. That's a lot of money. So you can allow me to play Knox Gets Hard and Imaginary. I can show those trailers and I can make fun of the movies, because if anything, people now might go see Knox Gets Wet and Imaginary. We don't know. But the likelihood is higher now that we have skewered the films here on MMT, because we are forever the bastion of quality filmmaking across the universe. Will always point it out. Thanks for being here, guys. As always, a pleasure. Maybe Thursday, maybe not. We'll see where we feel on Ghostbusters, The Frozen Dead, whatever the hell it's called. I'm not excited for it. Hopefully you are. If you are, God bless. Godspeed. See you next time on MMT. Peace out.